Over 5,000 years ago, in a land of scorching sun and unpredictable floods, a city rose that defied all expectations. This was Uruk, a true megacity, home to nearly 80,000 people at its peak. It stretched across 4.5 to 6 square kilometers, an area as vast as a major international airport. Protecting this bustling metropolis was a colossal city wall, a testament to ancient engineering. This wall was a staggering 9 kilometers long, and it stood an impressive 12 to 15 meters tall, taller than a 4-story building, and was about 9 meters thick at its base. Imagine the millions of handmade mud bricks needed, the sheer human effort involved. How did a civilization, thousands of years before steel and concrete, manage to build such an impossible city? Our story begins in ancient Mesopotamia, a land often called the cradle of civilization. This region, now modern-day Iraq, was nestled between the mighty Tigris and Euphrates rivers. It was a place of stark contrasts, incredibly fertile soil thanks to seasonal river floods, but also long, dry seasons and scorching heat. For thousands of years, people lived here as hunters, fishers, and farmers, adapting to the rich but challenging environment. Around 5,500 years ago, Uruk started as 2 smaller villages, Unug and Kulaba, built near an ancient channel of the Euphrates. Over time, these small settlements grew, merging into one bustling city by 3200 BCE, becoming the largest settlement in the world. Life here was a constant struggle against nature. Farmers in the nearby hills faced food shortages, pushing them down to the flat plains. But the plains presented new problems. Unpredictable floods in spring could wash away crops, while long dry spells left the land parched. On top of that, good building materials like large timber and stone were incredibly rare in southern Mesopotamia. These harsh conditions forced the Sumerians to become master innovators and engineers, compelling them to develop ingenious solutions for survival and prosperity. The legendary city wall, built around 3000 BCE, was a feat of civil engineering, stretching for approximately 9 kilometers, standing an astonishing 12 to 15 meters tall, and about 9 meters thick at its base. These walls were primarily built from mud bricks, a material made from local clay, water, and straw, then dried in the intense sun. The straw acted as a natural reinforcing agent, helping to hold the brick together and reduce cracking as it dried. Some sections of the wall, especially the inner and outer faces, used more durable fired bricks, which provided greater resistance to the elements. To make these colossal walls incredibly strong and stable, Sumerian engineers used clever techniques. They laid layers of reed mats and ropes, some up to 10 centimeters in diameter, horizontally within the mud brick, acting like internal reinforcement, much like steel rebar in modern concrete. They also used bitumen, a naturally occurring tar, for waterproofing and as a strong mortar, especially in foundations and on top surfaces to protect against moisture. The entire wall complex, including outer shells and a surrounding canal, could be nearly 40 meters wide in some sections, providing a formidable defense. At the heart of Uruk stood monumental temple complexes, the most famous being the Anu ziggurat, topped by the gleaming white temple. The Anu ziggurat was a massive stepped platform, about 45 meters by 50 meters at its base, roughly the size of a basketball court. It rose about 12 meters high, similar to a 4-story apartment building, making it visible for miles across the flat plains. These ziggurats were built with a solid core of sun-dried mud bricks, then covered with a protective skin of baked bricks. The walls often sloped inward slightly, which not only made them look more solid and imposing, but also helped with structural stability. For decoration, they used thousands of cone mosaics, small, colored clay or stone cones about 10 centimeters long, pressed into wet plaster on the walls, creating intricate diamond, triangle, and zigzag patterns. While direct evidence for large arches and vaults within Uruk's ziggurats is still being studied, the Sumerians were among the first to understand and use these shapes in other buildings like underground drains and tombs. This knowledge of how to distribute weight and span openings likely influenced their monumental architecture, allowing them to create larger, more stable structures. They even considered ventilation in ziggurats by drilling hundreds of square holes in the exterior of the baked bricks. This was a crucial detail to prevent moisture from building up inside the mud brick core, which could cause it to swell, soften, and eventually collapse, especially after heavy rains. They also used bitumen to waterproof the top surfaces of the ziggurats, preventing water from reaching the uncooked mud brick core. Uruk's very existence and its ability to sustain such a large population hinged on the Sumerians' ingenious water and waste management systems. The Sumerians initiated a massive irrigation program, building huge, hand-dug canals and embankments along the Euphrates River. These canals, some as wide as 15 to 20 meters and 3 meters deep, connected to a vast network of smaller ditches. This intricate system carried life-giving water from the river to the farmlands, transforming dry plains into fertile fields and ensuring a stable food supply for the growing city. The flat plains of Mesopotamia had incredibly gentle slopes, sometimes dropping only 1 meter over a distance of 10 kilometers. This made it difficult for water to flow naturally. Sumerian engineers cleverly solved this by using natural levees, the slightly raised land along riverbanks, to create a steeper slope for their canals, allowing water to flow more effectively into the fields. They also built temporary dams, or bunds, to raise water levels when needed. This complex system required constant, organized maintenance, as canals would quickly clog with silt, demanding regular cleaning to prevent blockages and floods. Within the dense city walls, Uruk also had a surprisingly advanced water system. As early as 4000 BCE, they introduced clay sewer pipes, with early examples found in temples, used to remove wastewater and capture rainwater. By 3200 BCE, Uruk boasted some of the world's first brick-constructed latrines. These were often built over deep vertical shafts or connected to ring drains made of perforated pottery rings stacked one on top of another. These seepage pits allowed liquid waste to drain into the subsoil, with solid waste accumulated and was periodically removed. This system, though basic by modern standards, was a critical step towards managing human waste in a dense urban setting, contributing significantly to public health and the city's overall livability. Building Uruk's colossal structures and maintaining its vast irrigation systems required an enormous human effort. Thousands of people, both skilled and unskilled, were mobilized for these projects. This often involved a corvée labor system, where citizens contributed their time and effort to public works. They were typically compensated with daily rations, such as barley, ensuring their sustenance during these massive undertakings. For example, building the White Temple's massive terrace alone is estimated to have taken 1,500 laborers working 10-hour days for about 5 years. This was not chaos, it was a highly organized operation. Early clay tablets from Uruk list over 100 different professions, from stonecutters and smiths to supervisors and scribes. Temples and later kings acted as central authorities, managing resources, allocating labor, and overseeing these massive projects. This system of specialized work teams, overseen by foremen, is considered one of the earliest forms of project management, ensuring efficiency in tasks like brickmaking, material transport, and construction. One of the most impactful Sumerian inventions was the wheel. While initially used for pottery around 4200 to 4000 BCE, it quickly transformed into a tool for transportation. Early wheeled vehicles, depicted on Uruk clay tablets from around 3300 to 3100 BCE, were likely four-wheeled carts pulled by oxen. Before this, heavy objects were dragged on sleds, a much more arduous task. The wheel drastically improved the ability to transport heavy building materials like mud bricks and even large stone blocks over longer distances. Despite their brilliant engineering and organizational prowess, the Sumerians of Uruk faced formidable challenges that ultimately contributed to the city's decline. One of the most insidious long-term environmental challenges was salination. The hot, dry climate, combined with constant irrigation and poor drainage, caused salts from the soil and irrigation water to build up on the surface of the fields. This was like slowly poisoning the land. Over centuries, yields of vital crops like wheat and barley dropped significantly. For example, in some areas, barley yields shrank from over 2,500 liters per hectare around 2400 BCE to less than 900 liters per hectare by 1700 BCE. This forced farmers to switch to more salt-tolerant crops or abandon fields altogether. The mighty Euphrates River, Uruk's lifeblood, also shifted its course over time, moving away from the city. This natural change, combined with the devastating effects of salination on their food supply and ongoing political conflicts with neighboring city-states, contributed to Uruk's gradual decline around 2000 BCE. Uruk was not just a city, it was the blueprint for urban life itself, a testament to what human ingenuity can achieve even against immense odds. The engineering feats were intertwined with innovations in governance, administration, and even the very concept of a city, proving that true engineering is as much about organizing people and ideas as it is about moving earth and stone. If you're amazed by the ancient engineers of Uruk, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the greatest builds, leave a comment with your thoughts, and turn on notifications so you do not miss our next adventure.